Warning, this is a podcast to inform, challenge, and bring light to different perspectives, not to bash or shame. Comments and opinions are welcome. Enjoy.
What's up, grown folks in the chat? Welcome to Put the Kids to Bed and Let's Talk. I'm your host, The Rebuttal, and I just wanted to check in with y'all before we start the podcast. Today's topic: would you rather be a baby's mama or a wife? I know this is a very sensitive subject for many, and I do not want to come off as insensitive to the struggles and plights of single mothers. There are many women in my life that are single mothers, and I have the utmost respect for them. Not only do I have respect for them, a big part of that respect comes from them being such great mothers. With that being said, it still does not take away from the fact that the growing number of single mothers is alarming. As a people, we must have these type of conversations to grow, to understand the conditions we are living in, and to also understand the conditions and circumstances of others. As I said in the last podcast, this is all out of love, and I hope that you can at least add and not subtract from the conversation. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Put the kids to bed and let's talk. Welcome to the podcast. Put the kids to bed and let's talk. We have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Ashley Fairley. I am 32, African American, and I live in Pensacola, Florida.
Cool. Do you mind sharing your religious stance? Like, are you Christian, Muslim, or something else?
I am a Christian. I am non-denominational, so that basically means I just don't put myself in a religious box. I just love Jesus.
Okay. And does being a Christian impact who you date and how you date?
Yes, especially if you are really a Christian. People say, "Oh, I'm just," you know, it does. It impacts how you date. What you look for in a person and how they are, as well as how you were brought up. It does impact all those things.
Okay. And are you married?
Yes,
Do you
I'm
have
married almost 12 years.
12 years? Okay. So
Almost next month be 12 years.
next month. That's beautiful. Do you have kids?
Yes, 4.
And do they all have the same father?
No, the first one, I was a teen mom, and then I met my husband right after that, and then we had 3, but we were raising all 4 together.
Okay. So all of the kids are in the same house.
Yeah.
Cool. So as you know, the topic is: would you rather be a baby's mama or a wife? It sounds like you've had, well, you still have experience. You getting experiences as you grow in both. Um.
Mhm.
So which one would you rather be?
I'd rather be a wife, hands down.
Hands down. And do you feel like there's more benefits to being a wife than a baby mama?
Oh, definitely. People say, "Well, it's just a piece of paper." Oh man, that burns me up. It's a covenant. It's
Mm.
a covenant, a pact, it's a contract. It's all of those things. It's a business, it's a partnership, it's all of that. It's not just a piece of paper. And if this man passed away today, I'm
Mm.
straight. You know what I'm saying? My kids are found like they're straight. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. It's gonna be hurtful, of course, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like I'm not gonna be like, dang, well, what I'm gonna do or anything like that. If I was a baby mama, not like if I was purely just a baby mama because I still have that title connected to my name in a way. Um, but that's not my, you know, I have the other title that kind of trumps that in a way. We can talk about that and we'll talk about that later on. But I'm sure it'll come up. But it trumps that. in a way.
Okay, okay. I like it. Did you grow up in a single parent home?
No, I grew up in a two-parent household. Dad was there. He was emotionally unavailable. He worked all the time. He worked. He was making sure the
Mm,
bills were paid. But as far as any type of fatherly advice or anything like that, he kind of never really sat down and talked to us. So there's benefits in having the two-parent household, but I also look at it the way my two-parent household was set up. It was more like my mom was doing all the stuff. She was a stay-at-home mom. She did all the legwork, and she did all the legwork. Anything that went down with the school, health, anything. She
mm.
paid the bills. My dad made the money. So I guess I just have experience in both of those situations, in those types of living arrangements. I guess.
Did people in your life, did you have any friends or anybody that came from single parent homes?
And yeah, most of my friends were their parents were single parents. Even my family, like cousins and stuff like that, and
Mm,
maybe had a couple. Like a lot of my boy cousins, I don't know how that worked, but my uncles or whatever, they had like multiple families, and so
mm.
like we would get together on the summer breaks and all that. And it was a lot of the boy cousins had like just their dad, or one of my uncles was a single dad, which you don't see that too
Oh,
much. And so, and then like I had another uncle who had like four families. Literally, he had impregnated four different groups of women, or
wow.
not groups, but like, and he established families, and he was married to them. And so he has about 12 kids, no lie, 11 or
Wow.
12 and
Yeah.
counting. So he married these women, and they were part of our, situation, and I saw them. So I did have different, like I said, different living arrangements, different people. But most of my friends, they had single parent households.
Do you think did they look at you different for having both of your parents? Like did they notice that? Or was that like
Um,
ever brought up?
no, not really. I think I don't know. I think a guy that I dated one time, he was like, "How is it?" Maybe it could have been my husband because, like I said, we've been married for a while. So I think we were having a conversation, him or somebody else. But we were having a conversation. He said, because he was brought up in a single parent household, and I do think it made a difference in how we saw things in life. But we kind of always ended on the same note, as like we want to make sure that we stay together, not just for the kids, but just so they can see the beauty of marriage, and if it's done right, it works. It
Hmm.
works.
I like how you
So
said
I
that
think
if
he was
it's
talking about
done right.
that.
I think that's a
Oh
key point. If it's done right, it works. Cause a lot of
yeah.
people try to down marriage and be like it ain't nothing. They still gonna do what they do and stuff like that. But if it's done right, it works for you and the kids, and that's what people should focus on more. Do you think a child is better off in a two parent household?
Oh yeah. I do. Even though my dad was, like I say, he was paying the bills, but he wasn't really available emotionally or spiritually or anything like that. I do feel like I benefited from it because he was the example of what you say, well, why would you want a husband that's like your dad? Okay, my dad was a hardworking man, I say dude, but he was a
Mm,
hardworking man. And so we also can say, well, I don't want this because I experienced this. I don't want my husband to, I
mm,
used to be really bad, like, I don't want nobody to drink or whatever. And we're learning now that, we grow and we change, and I had to go with the change, and I'm like, okay, that used to be one of my main things that I was like, because I was afraid that my husband would be like my dad in terms of he was a
mm,
drinker. My dad was a heavy drinker, and that wasn't like a fear of mine that, hey, I don't want to get with somebody that they drink off back, because this is what happened. My dad would always be mad or angry or mean,
mm.
you know what I'm saying? But he paid the bills, so I guess, but I feel at the end of the day, I do feel that kids, I feel like they deserve to have the two parent household, and,
Hmm.
and
Like
they just
that.
deserve it. It's like a right,
Yeah.
a birthright.
Feel that. So do you think I heard you say your father wasn't emotionally there? Did you look other places to fill that void?
I guess when we say that, like say look for other places, we unintentionally do that, you know. So we'll like choose different people, or we'll choose, well, we'll act out on attention. Like I was sneaky, so
Okay.
you know, I wanted people to know that hey, I'm a good girl, you know. But I was sneaking out and doing stuff, and so I think it was just more like I didn't know that I was needing it, that emotional. I didn't, like I said, unintentional. I didn't know that that's what I was seeking, but looking back on it, hindsight, that was what was happening. You know, like I was needing just attention. My mom, like I said, it was well, I didn't say this, but it was seven of us. So you think about seven kids and having to value your attention, and then the dad is not a partnership with that. So you're looking for, I just need attention somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I just need to get it. So I would do all the things. I ran track, I played soccer, I did all the, you know, I was on all the clubs. I even went to the White House in high school just
Okay.
so that I can get validation from
Yeah.
the people that were in my circle. And I still feel like I didn't get it because I'm like, man, we lived up the street from the soccer field. My mom and dad never really came to my games. What the
Mhm.
heck? Looking back on it, we're like 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes away from the soccer field. And I was just like, you know, so we look for those things. Even though I was like, man, I'm on this pedestal of like, okay, Ashley, she gonna go to school or whatever. She gonna be somebody. She gonna do this and that. So them not even talking to me on that level of like what I'm actually dealing with, because they had their mindset on this is where she is and this is where she gonna be. But I had a lot going on. Hence, I had a baby as a teenager. You know, like
Mhm.
that alone was a lot. And I even try to come to. I ain't never come to my daddy because I just feel like I didn't have that bond. But what if I
Mhm.
could have came to my daddy? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I came to my mama and she just wasn't there either. She was like, you know, judgy. You know what I'm saying? So I was afraid to even say anything to her. So I was like, my friend pregnant. What should she do? Oh, your friend, just tell that she needs some help. You know, because I was like, my friend trying to kill the baby. You know, I'm like, I was dealing
Mm.
with some mental stuff, and so
Wow.
yeah, and she just couldn't see that I was the friend, and you know, like you hear people say the friend, in the movies, the parents get it, but that was my reality. She didn't get it. I came to her twice, and I was like, "This is what's going on, my friend." She was like, "Your friend must be white," and I was like, well, "You can't even get mad because she wasn't even emotionally available because she was playing both parts. She
Yeah.
was a single married mama."
I like that's
You
a
know what
new
I'm saying?
term, single married mama.
Yeah.
Should women be proud of being single mothers?
Um, this question is double standard in a way because if you're in that predicament and you have to do like, I get when people say, "Well, I did all this by myself," like having that badge of honor, of like that work badge of honor, and it's really a thing that we learn to just do. Like I got to do what I got to do, and so you become proud, right? You become proud because I did this without any help, or say you did have
Mm.
some help, so you automatically feel proud, and I feel like they should be proud of not being a baby mama, but getting that child to where they need to be, because it
Okay.
does take a village. And so being proud of like, man, this is it could have went another way. It could have went a different way. It could have went sideways. This child
Mhm.
could have been. I told my mama, I was like, man, your boys, like my dad, like I said, he was working and stuff, but my brothers, none of them were on drugs. They didn't get any no games or anything. And I was
Mm.
telling her, I was like, Mom, you should be proud of that, because, and I didn't say y'all should be proud of that, even though my dad is dead. You know, you get what I'm saying? So you know the
Mhm.
backstory with it. So I was saying, Mom, you should be proud of that because this could have went another way. They had other choices they could have made, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And it's not because, oh, they had a two-parent household. It's because my mama was, she made sure that, you know, she took care of business. I guess she was standing on business, like they say. And so they could have made another choice, but they didn't. So I would be proud in that sense. Now the
Mm.
other part, I'll say, is double standard, because people wear it as like, oh, you know, they'll use it in a negative light. Um, I when I say that, they'll say they'll continue to have babies out of wedlock, um, and that becomes a problem with society in general. So They just continue to do it.
Yeah.
And then they become proud. Like if you try to tell them to not do it or try to like give them some advice or whatever, you're trying to help the situation. It's like you don't tell me what to do. This is what I do. This is I take care of my kids. Whatever.
Yeah.
But you're not listening to what's going on. Like yeah, you have to take care of them, but you can stop having and making them the choice. Women are in control of their fertility more than God is in the ultimate control,
Right.
but women they can control their fertility to a certain extent. Yeah, I ain't having no more children. If I'm not married, I'm not having no more. Because if this is what this is, I ain't trying to do this. So no, I
Right.
wouldn't be proud of that. I'm not proud of the fact that I had this baby and I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And so now that the baby's here, of course I'm gonna be proud of making strides in her life and making sure that she got everything she needs or
Right.
whatever. But the initial thought, I was embarrassed. I hid my pregnancy for 6 months. So it wasn't like oh, I'm pregnant. You see people do that, like, oh, I got something for you. I'm pregnant now. Like what? Now you're gonna be now you're gonna be going down to the WIC office. Like now like certain things like that.
Right.
It just like it's like you put yourself in a position because you trying to get back at somebody. Everybody has a story, so I don't want when one's listening to this that it's so one sided. Everybody has a story. I'm not talking about people who were raped and they had a baby. I'm
Right.
not talking about this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the choice of having a baby. And now that you have the baby, what's next? Mm.
So you being a baby mama and a wife, you have experienced co-parenting.
Yeah.
Does co-parenting mean 50-50?
No, you really don't. Um, I, and when people say 50-50 though, in anything, it's always 100-100 because that way, like even in a marriage, like I'm giving all, you give all. Because if I end up giving 40 one day and you give the 50, there's something gonna be lacking. So with co-parenting, and it's different too. Like I wouldn't even say 100-100 with that. Oh, I just said that. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to make sense. Okay, this makes sense. When with my situation, to talk about my situation.
Okay.
Okay, he in the beginning we were both young, so his mama did a lot of stuff. So in that situation, I was given all I could do as a 18-year-old. I was doing all I could do with the resources. I didn't have my own house. I didn't have all the things or whatever. So was relying more on his family. So in that instance, it wasn't 50-50. Okay, let's talk about now. He lives with me. I do majority of the leg work, but he is in her life to a point where it's like he's a friend to her. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. That's just their relationship. I'd rather them have that relationship than my dad don't call me. They play games together. They be Fortnite. They be doing stuff.
Yeah.
And he lives a whole nother 8 hours away. He moved to Texas. So
Yeah.
like I'm in Florida, he's in Texas, and so and our families are in Mississippi. So like that was my main thing. I want to make sure that she know, first of all, she know her people because I grew up with a daddy in the house that I didn't know his people, and they lived down the street. So I didn't know. I didn't when I go to the family reunion, I felt out of place. I didn't want her to feel like that ever. So like
Right.
when you go, those your people. So I make it my business, even if he not meeting me at that 50% of getting her down there or whatever. Over the years, we have both grown. We were teenagers. Now we're both 30 something, and so we have grown in that aspect. Like you know, he want to get her to Texas. I'm like, well, I'm not comfortable with that. But we can meet. Eventually I will be. He doesn't move to Texas, so let's just put that out there. It's not like he been there all this time, but he make his business to come down, and he makes sure that, and I make sure I don't get him no barrier. That makes sense. So like our situation is not 50-50, but when it happens, like when we're together and we're making things work, it's 50-50.
Okay.
Oh, it's kind of hard to explain that because it's
Nah,
like I have a full time.
I get it. I'm like a father's advocate. Cause I'm a
Mm-hmm.
father and I'm in a similar situation. I have an outside kid that was I had not when I was a teenager, but when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be it with my situation, it was hard to continue to be the father without being with her. I and it ended bad. It was like a bad breakup. And I left. We was both from the same city, so I left to go back to college, which I had flunked out of, to better my life, you know. And I actually gave her the option to go before me, but it wasn't in her plan, I guess. So I just went ahead and went. And
Mm-hmm.
during that time, my mom did pick up the slack. And I eventually got to the point to where I could do everything I needed for her. Even I was still involved in her life, but I wasn't in a stable living space, so I just didn't want to have her here and there. And
Right.
once she found out I was talking to somebody, it got even trickier, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like women get so much power over the child. Like you really don't have no say for real. And that's like discouraging in a way. It kind of made me like give up, but I almost give up. I didn't give up, but it put me to the point where I would go long times without seeing her just because it had got so tense, you know? And I just want my daughter. I just want to raise her. I just want her to, know her daddy. And she was a daddy's girl. I had her most of the time until she moved. I mean, until I moved, and then it kind of switched. But, I was always punished, always threatened to the point
Yeah.
where it was like I kind of just fell back, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I started trying to get back with, it's like the relationship is kind of like a friend, like how you say, but I still like talk to her and try to, but it's hard because like just how you said, I'm not comfortable with her going to Texas. Y'all have that much power. We don't get to say that to y'all. I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable
Right.
with that. It's not taken as serious as if you say it because you the mom. So it's like I feel like it's hard for a dad to even once that child is not
Leave the home.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Way.
it's not set up for him to even be a good father unless the woman is willing to actually let him co-parent. And that's
And see.
you
Oh, go
can
ahead. I'm sorry.
nah, I was done. I was just saying that's hard.
Yeah, with our situation, I was bitter, right? In the beginning of the whole pregnancy. We broke up when I was pregnant. Actually, we had dated for a few years, and then when I got pregnant, it was a whole like I said, the shame, and I didn't want
Mm,
to ruin his life. I felt
mm,
like it was more like my fault. I was gonna commit suicide. Like, there was a lot going on with that
yeah.
pregnancy, and so whenever I had her, I was bitter. I was just like, dude, you get to go to college, and like his mama was like, I'll pay for your dorm room and I'll do all this, and
Mm,
I was like, why would I want somebody else to raise my kid? Like, I
mm,
just know, like, once I became a mama, my whole I know everybody different, but for me,
yeah.
my life was over. Like, not want to say over. My life was her life, you know?
Felt
And so
responsibility.
the responsibility, I couldn't, he went and stayed he stayed in the dorm. He had a little apartment at the school, in Hattiesburg. Like, he did all the things, right?
Mm,
He went, and then he got his degree, and he was able to go to all the parties. And so I remember the mom was like, you can come live with us. She was really like, when I tell you she loved my, like, I was like, man, that was one of the blessings of the situation, because I got a child with a guy who has a strong family and have morals and values and stuff like that.
mm,
Because without this lady, yeah, I mean, she would speak life to my situation. I remember just going through, because I was still in love with him. You know what I'm saying? I was still in love.
mm,
So I'm like, then you're making me, you humiliating me, because I'm in high school and all these girls, they coming out the woodwork. Oh, I talked to him and this and that, and so it was more like an embarrassing thing. So it was built up anger. So when the baby came, I was like, well, I don't want my baby calling nobody else mama. That was my thing. Like, unless, obviously stepmama, that wouldn't be a problem. But at the time, it would be the grandma. and she was gonna raise the child, and I was like, I could go to college, so that I could go. So when you were saying she could have went, it's a little different. My mindset was like, I could go. I ended up going, ended up getting my degree and all that, but it was
Mm-hmm.
on a different time schedule. It was a different. I went back, and it was a lot going on with that, but I ended up getting it. But at the end of the day, at the time I went and I couldn't even focus really on because I had Carson in August and uh school started in August. So I mean I was like, okay, I don't want to be late. I want to make sure I graduate with my peers. I don't want this baby to mess up, what I got going on. I'm gonna go get her, whatever. Then I
Yeah.
kind of just got. Then college life, I'm like, okay, I want to have fun now. So I got this baby. So she would say, hey, I can get the baby, like you go to the games, you go to the parties, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that because I want. In my mind, I'm like, man, this is my baby. I ain't trying to let nobody else raise this baby but me.
Mm.
But y'all can keep her, y'all can spend time with her, but I just don't want to be that shame thing. Okay, now I'm a mama. I don't want to be labeled as a deadbeat mama. You know what I'm saying? So it was always
Right.
about what other people thought, and that I had to get over that and unlearn that because
Mm.
that was another thing I was dealing with mentally. But as far as like with him, his mama and them kind of protected him. They were like, well, he can't watch the baby because he don't know what he's doing. They'll say stuff like that. So in my
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, okay, well, he can't watch the baby then. I don't
Right.
want him watching the
Right.
baby if he can't. Y'all know him better than me. I mean, I know him, but
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, and he was a year younger than me, so
Okay.
that could make a difference too. But they were like, yeah, we don't want him watching the baby because he don't know when to feed the baby. He don't know. So like, if
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
baby's gonna come, he gonna be here we gonna be with him with the baby. So he would visit me at my house with the baby, but I couldn't even do that because I said I was still in love with him first of all, and
Mm.
then he'd be on the phone with a girl at my house. I'm like, why would you do that? And you come to see your baby, so that makes me want to be like, you can't come back over here no more, you know. And
Yeah.
so I got there. That's why I say I know that mindset of a enraged baby mama. I understand that
Mm.
mindset, but I didn't stay there that long. So what ended up
Okay.
happening was I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be that woman. I want my kid to have a relationship with her people. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make sure that he has a relationship with his kid. And so it was you have different people. I'm just the exception um to that. I wanted him to like I was the one that was like, yeah, you can get her anytime, anytime.
Yeah.
But his mama then was like, oh, well, he out to college or you can come here and study and we get the baby. So they used to do that. I used to go over their
Okay.
house and study. This relationship was so intertwined that it was still hurtful. So I had to cut them off
Yeah.
from
To
myself.
help yourself get over him.
Yeah, because it was more like the great grandma of my daughter. She had like six grandmas, three on my side, three on his side. And so like it would be more like, oh yeah, you can come over here and just stay in the spare room. One day I wake up, I go to the bathroom, he's sitting in the living room. I'm like, why are you here? Your house not even over here. Like I'm here. This is not good for my mental. And so I mean at the time I didn't know it wasn't good for me, but I knew I was just like, oh man, this boy here, like, okay, maybe he still like me. That's why he here,
Dang. Okay.
like,
Yeah.
and he just he's playing the video game. They got internet over here, and that's the reason why he over here. So in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, he over here because he wanted to be. Oh, I'm just waiting on his to knock on the door. Stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he never knocked on the door. He never said, oh yeah, I want to get back with you. Never, never. And so I just was holding on to it for about a good year or so. I was just really because I met my
Yeah.
husband when Carson was 6 months old, but we really wasn't, talking like
Serious.
that. We
Yeah.
was, serious. And so now it was like I get what, people be like, oh, my baby mama crazy. Because I had got to that point, I was like, it got to the point where it was hands on. We had one incident where I hit him, you know what I'm saying? And I was so angry, because I was just like, and I was at his grandma's house. I had to say, this is it. I can't be this person because I wasn't doing nothing. I was just texting a lot, like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm not gonna
Yeah.
let her be around you,
I used to get them
stuff like
messages
that.
too. Yeah. Used to
I
get
can't
all that.
stand you, all the
You
stuff, and
ain't
then it was
nothing.
built
Yeah.
up. Yeah, because he was nonchalant. He was just like, well, I don't care. Like, and that made it even worse. I was just like,
Mm.
I see you, and then we're gonna argue. and then I'm gonna slap you. And that's exactly what happened. And his mama was like, what would happen if we called the police on you? Like, well, he hit me too. Like, it was he didn't really hit me. Like, he like pushed me, kind of like hold me
Yeah.
down. It was like, and I was just like, you don't put your hands on me. And it was just a mess, you know. It was an
Yeah.
enraged mess, and I knew I didn't know, but I just knew this wasn't gonna be my life. Even when I was
Mm.
pregnant, I was like, I don't want to be a baby mama. Like, I was furious because, first of all, I'm pregnant, and then you want to break up with me? No, you're not breaking
Yeah.
up with me. And so that was the issue with that. I get both sides, but it was something that I had to deal with in myself. And a lot of people don't speak on that. They have to change. You have to
Mm.
change in order to co-parent with this man. Because if you have this bitterness and you're still in love, infatuated with this person, it's not going to work whenever you got these emotions going on. Because
Yeah.
that is the reason why people say you can't see your kid, because they are still wanting that life that they have created in their mind to be with you and to think, okay, I got this baby, I'm going to keep you. It's going to make you be here. It's going to make us be the family. Once
Mm.
you get that part out your mind, oh, you can co-parent 50-50, 100-100, however you want to do it. You can co-parent and it'd be easy. Our situation, easy. He can call whatever Carson needs. I can talk to him. I don't have no emotions tied to him. If I did, it would be more like, oh, I'm worried about what you got going on instead of worrying about what my child need or if you want to see
Yeah.
her or whatever. Carson, he goes everywhere with his family. Like, they call, they whatever. It's
It's,
any of her aunties, any of her great aunties. They have that relationship because she know them because she was there growing up with
right. And I look, I that's why I never publicly diss my baby mama like on social
them.
media or nothing. I never did it. I just took all the whatever she had to say, even if I saw some social media stuff she put once before. I just let it all slide because I knew I hurt her. But
Mm-hmm.
she hurt me back too. And I don't even think she understood how much she hurt me with how she
Mm-hmm.
did me with my daughter. Maybe she did know that's why she did it like that. But, I still try not to speak bad on her, even though I'm sure she has. And she might not speak bad on me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But, I hate I did it to her. It's one of my biggest regrets, like it's one of my biggest regrets that I made somebody a single mother and I don't get to raise my child in my house like that. That hurt. And I did it. I can't blame nobody but me, so it is what it is. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Should the father still be required to pay child support even if the other parent is married?
Oh, this is a good question. All right, so it depends on the husband or the I guess the spouse too and how they see it. With my husband, I was like, well, one day I think I text. We were trying to co-parent without the mama. We had to start winging off her because she was the bridge. I never communicated with my Carson's dad or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. It was like 6 or 7 years. I
Yeah,
never had a
that's how.
conversation with him.
Same way with
It was
me.
it was
Same
always
way.
the grandma. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she was very hands on. And so what ended up happening, I think either she brought it up or somebody we kind of just over the time it was like, okay, now we need to coordinate with him or whatever. I don't want to say his name, but when we need to coordinate with him or whatever. And so when we ended up doing that. So in the beginning, right before we started, I tried to do this early on. I wanted the mama out the picture kind of once I got over him. I was like, okay, let's just do this. Because she was
Mm-hmm.
too involved, She was like, okay, you guys need to file taxes like this. That's how involved she was. So I wanted her to kind of get, early on out the picture a little bit. And and so I text them, I said, hey, we need some help. Me and Cadero, we just got married maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. And I was like, hey, I'm going back to work. We need childcare. Like, do you want to go? Because we used to go 50-50 with the childcare. And
Yeah.
our childcare in Mississippi at that time, I was on like this little income thing. It was $50 a week. And I was like, man, mind blown now. I wish I was paying
Yeah, that
$50
was
a week.
lit.
And he was paying 25 and I was paying 25. And so I was like, okay, we still don't have that because his mama had made sure that was taken care of. Like, I never had to contact him about it. He would bring his little 25 up there. I lived down the street from daycare. I would just go drop it off or whatever. But when I moved, that was a shift. I moved to the coast, or I moved to another city. And so, which was not that big of a, drive or whatever. But I ended up moving, so the childcare situation, all that stuff ended up changing. And it wasn't like a conversation that I had with him either. It was more like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing for me, and we gonna make it, work with, being able to see her. That was my main thing. Like, I want you to see her, like, your people. If it's not you right now, if you're currently off to college or whatever you're doing, let it be them that see. That way she know them. So
Mm-hmm.
besides the point, I asked him about childcare, and he was like, well, if she was here, she wouldn't have to pay childcare. I mean, you wouldn't have to pay childcare. So I was like, okay, okay, okay. So I told my husband that, and he was like, okay, so for this point on, we don't need anything from this man. Like, he would
Mm.
say, if I'm married to you, I'm taking care of this baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he said, um, his words were exactly, he was like, why do we need him financially if I'm here?
Mm.
So that was my husband being a man, first of all, as well as being my spouse. And so he was just like, if we're not going to ask him for money, like, if he willingly do what he got to do, then that's fine. We're not going to be asking
Mm.
him for different stuff, because you should automatically do that, because this kid is in this world. Period. She need, like, it's like, I don't have to
Yeah.
say, hey, well, I need this and this. You know what? You know. If you don't know, here, throw this there. This is what I want to get her. Don't buy the stuff and give it to her, or say, hey, I know y'all both working. We young at this point. We like 21, so, like, I know y'all working. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to come up too. We all trying to come up. So we got child care. And we got this one kid. So we need daycare money. So
Yeah.
asking him was more like me kind of going down and say, okay, let's make it this way. Let me ask him, because I had got to the point where I was like, man, they were buying diapers and stuff. Like, I ain't never have to do anything. So what ended up happening, long story short, the mama was like, we all need to go ahead and get something in writing, an
Mm.
arrangement type situation. I say she was kind of really hands on. And so when I was 21, mind you, I had Carson. A few years before that, they asked me, do you want him to pay back time child support?
Oh,
And
hit
I
him.
said no. I said
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Because I'm like, this family. I even told his mama was there, the judge was there, everybody was right there. I ain't have my mama with me because I think he was 20, so he had to have his parents. He had to have his mama there, but it was fine because she was gonna be there regardless. And she
Yeah.
was really advocating for both of us. That's the thing about it. It wasn't a one-sided thing. I mean, she was biased. Obviously, that's her son, but she was a single mama before she was a teen mama.
Yes, as she know.
So she had a more empathy more than sympathy. She had empathy for my situation, and so she just wanted to make sure I was treated as fair as well. And so she was just like, I really appreciate you for saying that you don't want him to pay back time child support or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I was like, yeah, you guys bought diapers. I mean, y'all did. I mean, clothes, everything. Like, y'all did what y'all supposed to do. Back of, if that makes sense. So I was like, nah. And I'm not. I mean, at the time, I think I had got married, and I think that does help the situation a little bit better too. Like,
Mm.
moving on helps the situation
Yeah.
a little bit, a lot
Definitely.
better.
Oh, moving on. Talking about like with another
Moving on
person?
with another person, or just moving on in
Nah.
general. You could have just like, okay, well,
Yeah, I
I'm
would have
moved on
said
from
that.
the situation, not getting another person right away, because then you bringing them into the mix, and if that person's not strong to deal with this, or even have that mindset of, if he I want to say, if he's just not smart enough or not a peacemaker, because you can get with somebody and they're like, I don't care what I'm gonna make more drama, and
Yeah.
he's really a peacemaker. So it was more like,
Yeah.
we don't really need it. If it's gonna be an issue, we don't even bother with it. Don't even bother with it. But since the mama was like, you just have something in writing, this is what we're gonna do. And so that's what we ended up doing. We did do the child support situation. And it was not on no greed thing. It was more like we don't have to worry about ever asking for it, like, little things. So with the child support situation, I never increased it. It was always, he was working at Target, and that's what I've been getting since he's been all them years. I never increased it. I never,
Man.
you know what I'm saying? Because at this point, I was just like, we got to do this just for other assistances as well. You have to be compliant and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so at the time, my husband and I wasn't really getting any assistance because we only had the one child, and then you have to put the person on child support. So we was like, no, we're not doing that because before the whole court order thing, we were just like, nah, we just not going to go down that route because we didn't want to put him, we didn't want to put him on child support. But and so that's why we never increased it. We never sought out anything like, oh, he got another job because he was in college at the time. So like the court order was once you get your new job, you have to put on your insurance. You gotta, I mean, he ended up doing all those things, but like you would have to report that you got an increase in your payment or whatever, increase in your income. Because he was tripping about the little $100 he had to pay, at the courthouse. I was just like, his mom was like, Ashley is doing you a favor by not getting $3,000-$4,000 from Backtown child support.
Yeah.
Do you understand that, son?
He
was just like, yeah, but I don't make that much. I don't make that much. And I'm like, and I just was quiet the whole time. I was just looking like.
It do hurt though, because it's like somebody digging in your pocket. Like, I'm a do for my child, but now you forcing me to do it. Plus, she don't even. I hate child support because it's kind of like Santa Claus. They don't understand. Like, my daughter don't understand that I pay child support.
Right.
She just know when I want something, I'm gonna ask my daddy. And I sound bitter and lame if I say I pay child support. So tell your mom, like, that sound crazy, So
yeah, get it from that.
It's like the mama get that, and she still get presents like child support not even involved. She still get whatever she want, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I ain't bitter about it. I let it go. Like, I think it is what it is. That's just, I did it one time. I ain't make no more other kids outside of wedlock, and I'm living my life. I ain't tripping, but that do hurt.
I don't know, with child support, it's like I just hate that they have to do that, like to make it like it is, like, oh, you got to do it like this, because I know somebody who went and put his stuff on child support because he would need to have visitation rights for his kids. And it's like, if you would have just worked with me to get like, okay, now I have to ask you for daycare, and it was more like I just got married and I was still navigating how everybody's roles were going to be in the situation. Is my husband going to be the daddy, or is he going to be just the person on the side that's like, not having no input or anything in the situation? So he kind of forced him to be the like, hey, I'm here. Yeah. But they got a great relationship. It's so weird. I sometimes in the beginning I couldn't talk to him. I would get very emotional and I'd just be so irritated. And Sarah would just talk to him, and it was like, this is clear. And I was like, man, this is working. This works. And they got like a brotherly, I don't know, like a bro code. I mean, it's not a bro code. I hope not. But it's more like a understanding. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
And so, and it wasn't like, oh, we forced it. It was kind of like, I want to say I just learned that I was dealing with a lot of like mental stuff. Like growing up, I didn't put a name on it. I didn't know that this is what I was dealing with. These different types of, it's basically spirits if you're in the spiritual realm. But I didn't know I was dealing with this stuff. And so like, I was like, oh, it's so hard for me to talk and get irritated. I just get angry, I just get frustrated. And so he was like, I don't want first of all, no man finna have you that upset, because you know what I'm saying, you messing up what we got going on, And so he was like, let me talk to him. And that's why I say he a peacemaker, because if I had another person, it just felt right, because if at the end of the day, if I had another person who was just as angry or just as have a bad attitude or don't really see the big picture is we trying to get this girl to have a well-rounded life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the big picture. People be in it for their own selfish reasons, or they get aggravated because they didn't go the way that they wanted to go.
I feel that that's good. It sounds like you went through a lot. It's interesting in it to hear other people's story and how you have similarities and then differences. Cause me and my
my sister.
Oh, my bad. You can go.
Oh no, I was just saying my sister, we had kids at the same time, like they're a year
Mm.
apart. And my mama never had to do for my daughter, like come out, like, because I've had that the other people, somebody's gonna pick up the slack. You're a single mama and the daddy really ain't present, somebody's picking it up regardless. If it's the government, it's the mama, the grandma, whoever, somebody's picking up that extra slack. So my sister's situation, she didn't have none of that. Like my mom was like, I got to take care of her and the kids because she was even younger than me. And so she was like, see, you got lucky. I was like, I got lucky. I'm a baby mama. How did I get lucky? But I get what she was saying. She was like, you got the family that wants, they
Yeah.
don't have their people. They take care of their own. You know, people say they take care
Mm-hmm.
of their own. That's exactly what they do. They don't really like, they keep their reputation. Because I ain't gonna lie, I got on Facebook a couple times. I said some stuff, and I had to take it down because grandma was like, "Hey, like, we doing this and doing that." I was like, "Well, this ain't got nothing to do with you." Like, I'm finding out stuff right now that was happening when I was there, and I'm mad. I'm mad about it. I mean, you
Yeah.
make me look like a fool. So I guess
Mm.
you have different people's perspective on it. If you were to ask my sister how her relationship would be as far as co-parent, it's non-existent. It's
Mm.
non-existent, you know? And so it's like, well, dang, I actually even have my husband and my baby daddy, they can have a conversation about Carson and make it make sense and we can come together. It wasn't like that in the beginning. It was more like I had to figure out how that was gonna look. And I
Yeah.
had to let go of what I had going on with him. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all about the person and their will to be civilized.
Okay. Um, what does it mean when a woman doesn't know who the father is?
Ugh. Um, I mean, she was wilding, or she was wilding out. She was wilding out, or that's the only explanation with that because how you don't know?
I,
It got
that's
to be
I, that's what I be wondering.
it got
How
to
you
be
don't
multiple
know?
people,
Yeah.
and then in your like I track I mean just personal, but I track my cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even with conception and ovulation, it don't happen every day. It happened like a week. You fertile, you get that week
Mm.
or so of the month that you're fertile. Now, depending on everybody has different, like, they don't have a regular 28-day cycle or whatever, but most people have 28 days. You can go back and track that, okay, well, that week, so you can even minimize it from, okay, 4 weeks to 1 week. You can't tell me you don't know who in that 1 week. And then it goes even down to 1 day. Your egg is alive for 24 hours, for to 40, 24 to 48 hours. So 2 days, like you can't even minimize it down to that.
Do you think that's common knowledge for women?
No, a lot of people don't know about their bodies, but I think when you become pregnant and all that, they kind of talk to you about it. The verbiage becomes more repetitive, and you kind of like, oh, okay. And then if you start trying, I had a season of life where I couldn't get pregnant with my husband. I was like, what the heck was going on? It was easy the first time, and then when we got married, it took us a couple of years to get pregnant.
Mm.
And so that's when I learned about that, and I was like, there's something wrong with you because I clearly can get pregnant. And then I got the prophet in my church or whatever. I got him to pray for me, and then I was like, well, that ain't work. I need to get another prophet, right, to pray for me. So I ended up having two kids. Boom, boom, like within
That's what happened. Her.
yeah,
It's like
I'm
boom,
chalking it up
boom.
to that, man. I'm just thinking that because there's no way we did that on purpose.
That's
Like,
crazy.
so I ended up
It
having those two
a
back to back.
delayed
Delayed
response.
blessing.
Huh?
I just,
Yeah.
no, no. I was just like, and I was tripped out because I was like, oh my God. Like, I was not, my third child. I was just like, Lord, help me to love the child. I was mad. Like, what is
Mm.
going on? And then my mama, she's so like black and white, she'll say stuff like, well, you married, Ashley, you married. I'm like, but yeah, I'm trying to go to school. I finally get the mindset to go back to school. And then I got three. Man, and that's what I ended up. That push gave me like a little momentum. I ended up getting
Mm.
my associates and bachelors all in like that 3 years
Okay.
time frame. But Yeah, people don't mistakenly don't know who they either they hiding it or they know or they don't. They really just
Yeah.
wilding out and they just don't know. So
I never understood it. It was just super wild to me when I was like, how is that? Cause another thing I see is social media. I see a bunch of women on my timeline. I ain't gonna say a bunch, but
mhm.
it's enough for me to notice that they don't even be in relationships and they just pop up pregnant.
Yeah,
And
I have a few of those on mine too.
yeah, and you don't see the father ever. Like you never
Yeah,
see the father. And it be like this, it don't it happens, but it be like they second or third child and they still like on that same little rotation and it just like it throw me off. I kinda get a little judgmental. I feel a way
yeah.
about it. Like, man, what is you doing? Like why what are you into? Like do you just not want a
Exactly.
man and just want kids? Or like I'm trying do you think the kid gonna make the man stay? Like I just be trying to figure it out, but then I be like, it ain't my business. Like let me just
It's
move
just
on.
easy to judge, man, because it's like, what are you doing in 2023? There's no excuse. They got so much research and so many. I want to say they have contraception where you don't even have to even wear a condom. You know what I'm saying? You can. If that's the thing that's holding you up. You can go get the little. I mean, I don't recommend. I'm not advertising birth control to the point where you have to insert something in your body, but they have those things where it lasts 5 years. It lasts
Yeah.
3 years. So if
Yeah.
you really, it's a trip to the health department, and most of the time, if they on Medicaid or whatever or insurance in general, it pays for it. Matter of fact, they are promoting preventative pregnancies because that's the point. We're trying to like, well, I don't want to say preventative pregnancies, unplanned pregnancies.
Mm.
They're promoting not having unplanned pregnancies. That's what I was trying to say. So like there's so much. So either you trying to do it on purpose, or you really don't have a knowledge because you're around people without that knowledge. You could be around a group of people. I've been to different places where I'm like, oh, that's how they think over here because they have to think like that. I know this girl. She had like 11 kids, and I'm like, what? And she like 35.
Mm.
What in the world? And like her oldest child was like 18. She got a baby, and I was just like, you a grandma at 35. And that's my
Yeah.
fear because I had to my daughter early, right? So
Right.
I'm like, okay, I gotta watch you because first of all, you got a close connection with me, anyways. Like we there, like we talk about stuff. But at the end of the day, because I know what it's like to not be able to talk to your mama about stuff like boys and like I mean, we out here as a young kid. You out, not a young kid, but like as a teenager, if you having sex, you be most of those teenagers be out there without any knowledge of what's going
Yeah.
on with their body. They don't even know what a period. They know what a period is, but they don't even know what ovulation is. I didn't know what ovulation was until after I had my child and I was trying for my second baby.
Mm.
They have no knowledge about it because it's not. And as a culture, black culture, I can speak on that because the women. Now every family is different. And some families they try to break these generational curses,
Yeah.
but it's just not talked about. Like it's very like taboo or whatever. Like no, I don't talk about sex. No, they need to know because if they friends tell them, they're gonna make it sound so good. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make it
Mm.
sound easy. They're gonna make it sound interesting. Curiosity killed the cat. Exactly, is exactly what that is. It killed it because at the end of the day, you want to know what you don't know, and so I just feel that people don't have a knowledge of their bodies, and
Mm.
also you could be around people who are doing this for other things. Just be honest, you get government assistance. The more kids you have, the more money you get, and
Yeah,
it's
that was the next question. Do you think food stamps in Section 8 play a part in women not wanting to get married?
yes, it does play a part. Because I remember at one time in our marriage, I wanted, and I'm saying this based off experience only. This is not hearsay. This is not something I think about. I know for a fact. I went down there to the place to go on housing, right? I was like, yeah. And then, other people will tell you a scoop. Don't go down there telling all your business. Don't go down there telling them you married. And I was like, man, if we can't get approved as a married couple, I don't want it. I'm like that. I'm like, man, we struggling right now. If we can't, if we struggling right now, we can't get it. It ain't for us, man. Because how much money they don't want you to make, and then they you gotta fit into a certain bracket. Then you gotta and then like I had cousins and people that I know and siblings and all that they had to hide the dude's shoes if they do get on Section 8. They gotta hide the man's shoes. He can't have no clothes here. So it's every other month you doing this. So if you get married, you gonna cut them off down. So you gonna get cut off the
Yeah.
housing, and they
Yeah.
gonna tell you from jump who living with you, and they gonna make sure that some people get away with it, however they get away with it. But at the end of the day, it comes back. It's gonna come like they say out the wash of the. It's gonna come out one way or another. And so most women, they get on that stuff and it's crippling. I've seen Section 8 cripple the men. They
Mm.
become limp, for other words. They become where they got that thorn, that hustle, that drive to do anything greater because the bill's getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The bill's getting paid. And so if you
That's
don't have
deep.
that thorn, I call it it's basically the slave mentality. Who the white man, we gonna say we're not talking like we're talking about slave mentality. So when I say the white man, I'm talking about the government. He gonna come and pay. He gonna take care of me. So at the end of
Mm.
the day, that's what they did at the slaves. They take the black man or whatever, and then the master, he gonna take care of it. So it's just a trickle effect. And I'm not saying white people don't be on Section 8. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying in my experience, what happens with the man, they become like, well, she gonna take care of it, and they be putting the woman in a masculine position
Yeah.
to be that breadwinner. Technically, you're not the breadwinner, but you have a knowledge of something. So if
Mm.
I have this knowledge, sometimes that's deeper than money. I have a knowledge to get it, and so my man, he just my man, right? He my man, my man, my man. But he ain't your husband. It's a difference.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm
Nah, I
not trying to
agree.
shame nobody in terms of Section 8 because I really believe the benefit of Section 8. Section 8 was designed to help women and single parents to elevate them to better. But it also, that's what they told you in the book. But it was really also designed to keep you where you are. You
Yeah.
got to have some poor people around here for the society to function, right? So you got to keep some people poor. And the way to do that is you can't get married, you can't make certain amounts. You can't even buy a brand new car when you're on Section 8. So
Yeah.
it keeps you in this box, and it makes you not progress. You stay there. That's why them people be on Section 8 for like 30 years. Like, well, dang, I try to get on there. They say, oh, it's full. Like, it's still full. Nobody coming up. Come on now, it's still full. People in the 80s, they got on that stuff. They still on that, and it's because it was so easy. Man, think about it. You ain't have your mortgage right now. That's just that one bill. If you ain't have that right now as part of you could save your money, right? You would think these
Mm.
people are saving their money. No, because you're gonna spend. They not giving that type of stuff to people who are working because we don't know what to do with it. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother whole. Whenever you do that topic on this again, like make sure you come call me because I really very passionate about the government and how they keep the people down, and we allow it. Not we as me, but as a culture, as a people, we are just be oblivious. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna just. But it's for you to get on your feet. It's
Mm.
for you to get on your feet. Let's just be real. Like it's for that. Where people stay there and they like, well, shoot, I ain't paying that $800, that $1,500 mortgage or rent. I ain't paying that. I'm just paying my light bill. Then they give them a little check for the light bill. So what the man really doing? If he is designed to be the provider, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Crippling, He's
Yeah.
chilling.
Put them to
He don't
sleep.
want to go to
Yeah.
work. He tired. He don't want to go to work. Now he beating you. Like, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you here? It's too many examples. I see it so much. It made me so mad. I be want to say something,
Yeah.
but I'm like, no, that ain't my position because it's gonna come out wrong. It's gonna come around. I'm gonna have to apologize. So let me just
Mm.
not say nothing.
Do you think marriage will still matter in the next 15 years?
Man, how social media going? Uh, it's just I'm starting to see some people coming out of the woodwork saying how that marriage is still the goal. Marriage is still the goal. I feel like it ain't gonna disappear, but I feel like other things are more enticing. You got these boss girls now that
Hmm.
I wanna be a damsel in distress. I don't care. I feel like save me. I'm gonna have my little stuff. 'Cause I told my husband, I was like, I gotta have a little bit of like I did, like my own little moment of my own little motion or whatever. But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, I'm not trumping you. Like I want you to be the man of the household, and that's
Mhm.
you the man of the household. Why do they say the man of the household? Why don't they say the woman of the household? It don't even sound right. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that, like it goes back to your beliefs in your faith and if you're religious and spiritual and all those things. It goes back to that because that's the foundation.
Yeah.
And then if you take that, a lot of people, you say next 15 years, well, depending on how people are with faith, is that gonna die down? I feel like it's like the Bible say it's settled in the heavens. It's not going to somebody gonna want to hear it. Somebody gonna want to listen.
Yeah. The the way that the world is going,
Mm.
cuz I had questions like I was struggling with Christianity and stuff, but
Uh huh.
I was raised by my grandparents. My grandfather was a preacher, so I grew up in the church.
Mm.
And even today, like the stuff I be knowing from when I was young, people don't even be knowing about. And I be like, dang, you go to church all the time. But it to me, the reason why I'm going back to my foundation, what I was raised upon, because it has gotten like how they said it was gonna get when they
Dark.
dark. I remember they used to tell us like it's gonna be a time where you're not gonna be able to open up the Bible. You're gonna get crucified for opening up the Bible.
Mm.
And it's like that. Like you can open the Bible and read it, but you cannot use your Christian principles to tell somebody that they're wrong, or like not even tell them wrong, or like just say I don't want to participate in that because I'm a Christian. They look at you as wrong. Or you can
Yeah.
be like, I don't agree with this certain thing because of my beliefs, and they don't respect it. They call you a bigot. They say you being small minded, you not being progressive. And it's like, wow. It's like we getting rocked to sleep by the devil to me. It seems like because it's everywhere. Like even with just the way that it's going, they promoting when you young, you should have so much fun. Don't worry about it. Live your life. You
Mm.
only live once, and it's like they just sending our kids straight to the devil with the idols. You know, we worshiping rap music and stuff like that. Um, and with that being said, would you rather be Lauren Hill? No, would you rather Lauren Hill or Sexy Red?
Oh, who is Sexy Red?
You don't even know Sexy Red. That's good.
I mean, no, well, I'm kind of stuck in a genre of if it wasn't before I got saved, and I don't really, I don't know, I'm just not musically inclined. Um, but I rather peaceful music,
Okay.
or uplifting, if that makes sense. I don't even, man. Cadero was playing something the other day. And I said, "Hey, turn it off." It disturbed me. I was like, And it happens so often now because he would never used to listen to like, he very music, like he like listen to all types of music, right? And so I was like, "Who is that?" He was like, "Oh, this such and such." I'm like, That's I'm so sensitive in the spirit now. And I think with this 2023, I've learned. I was going to church, right? We were going to. It was like a thing that I was doing because I was just continually okay. So I was going to church because I wasn't brought up in the church. We had to go sing. My uncle, he was a pastor, and my mom was just drop us off. She never stayed, like like that. Like she's black and white. She don't play with God, but she ain't gonna be in there pretending, So she just don't. She just didn't go, and so I didn't grow up knowing all the things, but when I got, late teens, early 20s, I really started going. And then I want to say I stuck. I was just going just to go because that's what I was supposed to do. But this last couple of years has shocked, what shook me in terms of like having a relationship with God instead of having a checklist. This is how you're supposed to look. This is how you're supposed to dress. This is how you're supposed to act. But really having a relationship with God. And so I've become more sensitive in the spirit. And so, and I'm still learning. I'm like, I was like, God, just renew me, unlearn all the stuff, like some of the stuff I need to keep, but like kind of filter it out how you want me to be, not how I think I'm supposed to be because I am labeled a Christian or whatever. I want to be a daughter of the King. How do I need to be like that? Like, show me what you want me to look like, how you want me to act, and I'm still learning how He want me to be because I be convicted. I was like, man, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did it like that. I feel bad now. I need to make that right, you know. And it's a conviction. It's a sensitive. So with music, man, like I'll we got the little Alexa thing now, and I'm like, Alexa, play Elevation Worship because I know Elevation Worship predominantly white station, but it has the worship is nice. You know what I'm saying? So I'll listen to
Yeah.
anybody who's singing about God. It don't have to be like purple flute. It don't matter. But I'll listen to Travis Green. You know, he got uplifting. He talks about his testimony. It's something about when people tell me their story. It's really like, man, that's real. People ain't telling. They gonna tell you what it looks like so good, and that's why I appreciate the podcast too because it's like realness. You know what I'm saying? It's like raw. You have people who, like on
Yeah.
social media, we show the highlights. Oh, we did this. Oh, I went here. You know, but like, what about when you're struggling mentally to like, and that's what I want to do. Like with anything I do moving forward, I kind of want to be able to reach people on a real note. Like this is what I do. This is what I'm. This is it's not pretty right here. This is what it looks like. This is what's going on. I mean, you got to have wisdom on how you deliver certain things, and everything has a time. You can't just be going through some. Oh, I'm gonna divorce my husband today, and then you talk about that, even though for tomorrow you may have a different feeling. So we have to learn to get the lesson out of it first before we start doing it. Like I said, that's all about wisdom. But I appreciate realness more than I ever have in my adult life. You know, it looks good when people, you know, they show the highlights, but also talk about what you're struggling with. Like a mom struggling with anxiety. I can relate to that. At first, I was like, man, no, I don't. Man, I got, you know, God, I got God or whatever. He gonna take care of me. Yeah, but in the midst of that, how are you getting through anxiety? How can you help that single mama? And like, I was like, the church don't talk about single mamas. Like, I'm like, why not? Talk about the married woman, how the married woman's supposed to take care of the wife. I mean, the husband. But what about this single mama that's single by default? Not because she felt like she wanted to be. Nobody grows up and say, "Well, I want to be a single mama." Like, now you do have some women, got that 1% that choose sperm donors and all that. We ain't talking about them. I'm talking about people who, you know, like nobody grows up to say, "I want to do this." So, what? How can we encourage them? I was listening to the radio. Sometimes I listen to the radio. It just depends on who's talking. But most of the time I don't listen to nothing. I just literally have so much going on in my brain. But either I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm listening to the radio or whatever. And they were talking about single moms. Like the church has forgotten about single moms. And I'm like, you know what? I can say how hard it was whenever I was a single mom, but was it really hard for me when I had all this support and help? You know what I'm saying? Now it was a lonely. I felt like I was fear for the unknown. Like how long is they gonna be able to help me? Like how this gonna look? I'm gonna be by myself. Nobody gonna want me. That's main. I was really
Yeah.
selfish. Like, oh, nobody gonna want me with a baby. Because I don't want to date nobody with a baby. So I know nobody gonna want me with a baby. And so, you know, that was just my mindset. But the church has forgotten about single women to a point where it's like it looks down. You know, we look down on them. Like you single about because you feel because you broken or whatever. We have broken women all the time. You can be broken and married.
Mm-hmm.
That's you have to like have that other person has to know you. You know, people say, "Oh, get married." Just okay. The wedding is for the people. The marriage is for you. The marriage is where it's gonna hold on. The wedding is for the looks and the people. But at the end of the day, when the doors are shut, how can you maintain it? You know what I'm saying? You got to have some type of. I had told my husband about my anxiety, right? And I ain't never. I was like embarrassed to say something because I was like, oh. he grew up
Mm.
in a church and he gonna think that I'm weak. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so weird. I just be like, I'll answer my question before I ask. Like, I'll just like not answer. Like, I'll not ask it because I already know the answer, right? And I had to stop doing that. So this year kind of taught me how to like be led and just like open about what I'm actually dealing with. And so, and I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I used to blog, like write. I wrote about my testimony about Carson, my daughter or whatever. I wrote my testimony about that, and I went back on it. It was like an old website, and there was a few women on there, and they were like, "Hey, I'm so glad you wrote about this." And I'm like, "Dang, this was like 8 years ago when I
It
wrote
be
this."
like that though. It be like you
Yeah,
never
so
know
and
when it's
and
gonna hit.
and it hit, and I was just having an outlet. I didn't even promote this. I just wanted to write it down so I won't
Right.
forget what I was feeling at the time. And people need to be more like that. I feel like there's so many men, single dads, and not so many single dads, but there are dads who wish that they could be more part of their kids' life and like feeling like they're it's in a woman's court. It really is in a woman's court. Well, and then I wish I could say there's something you can do about it, but the only thing I guess is just to be present in whatever way you can find. Like with my daughter's dad, they have a great relationship. Now he's never disciplined her or anything like that. Not because I didn't want him to. It's just they don't have that type of I don't know if it was just wasn't natural for him to. Now he didn't
Mm.
talk to her. I guess he don't have to whoop her, but
Yeah.
he's had those conversations with her like of disappointment or whatever she got going on. So when I say I'm gonna talk to your dad about this, she look a certain way. Like, no, I don't. I'm like, no, we have an open relationship. Because he even said it. He was just like, whenever she got going on, I want to know about it. Like
Yeah.
if it's something with school, boys, like I want to know about it. Now, if he wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have just automatically like this is what's going on because we didn't have that established in the beginning. But
Mm.
now that he put himself in front, it's like, hey, I want to be. I don't care I don't care what's going on. I need to be a part of that. I want to be all in that. So
Yeah.
now it's easy. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on, and you need to talk to her. I could easily go to tell my husband, hey, you need to talk to her. But it's just different because I feel like now we are a team. In the beginning, it wasn't like that. We were not a team. I was
Yeah.
bitter. I was mad. I had to let go of what I had going on in order to co-parent.
Okay. Okay. I feel that. We reaching the end.
hmm
Before I let you go, do you have anything you want to promote?
I mean, you guys can always go out and see my YouTube channel, Fairly Simple Life. I was just kind of getting back into it, just from like talking about. I share home decor, but I also in my videos I talk about um spiritual stuff. So I just talk about what God is currently doing in my life and my struggles and my triumphs. Try to be as genuine and authentic as possible. As and it's like I said, it's up and coming. I had stopped because I got unmotivated. But if you guys want to do that, that's fine. Have people reaching out to me on some other stuff. I just be like, oh, so you want to ask God like, how do you want me to be in this situation? Like, what's my
Mm.
purpose? Like, how can I use this platform to not just be, oh, this is what I'm doing, but actually be a help to somebody? If I could just help one person in how I do stuff, maybe you struggle with keeping your house clean or whatever. Like, if what I do, like, if I share that this is how messy my house is, but I'm about to clean it up, and I'm gonna motivate you how to clean yours up and keep it clean. Just this and be like, "Hey, you motivated me," or they don't say you motivated me. They'll say, "Hey, that was helpful. Like, where
Yeah.
you get that from, or how you do that?" And I had like random women that I never like. I talked to them in high school, but these girls were like very popular, right? And so I was just I don't want to say I was a nobody, but I was just like I was friends with everybody, so it was kind of like I wasn't popular to where I had a clique. It was more
Yeah.
like I was in so many different clubs and stuff that I just I just was doing my own thing. But I would talk to girls that's emailing me or on Facebook Messenger or whatever. I'm just like, because it's like the oldest platform I have, is my Facebook, and so I get these messages. I'm like, oh, what you want? Like, oh, I'm glad that helped you. Oh, yeah, I can call you, or yeah, we can talk, and then we talking to this girl that I ain't seen in 12 years or whatever, and she telling me all her personal business. I'm like, oh, well, dang, because something about what I got going on related to you or resonated with you, and that was a couple of years ago. I'm like, well, give it back to me, God, because at one point I had that purpose of like, and somewhere down the line, I started thinking about what other people were thinking about. Like I don't want to share too much because what if they think this? Or I don't want to share too much. Like, give me wisdom on what to share, how to do it. But when I was sharing, just because it was a help, and so if y'all want to follow that, and I said all that to say that, just I'm not no priest. I'm just a regular person that don't mind sharing her story, and so that's all.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I'll be sure to put your YouTube channel and whatever, TikTok or social media stuff on the thing. And thank you for coming. I'm sure I'll have you back on other topics. Seem like you got a lot to say.
Yeah.
Nah, you good.
I
But
don't get to talk to a lot of people, man. It's like, like I don't get to talk to a lot of adults. Let's just say that I have like kids around all the time, and so this podcast like this does help, like with having adult conversations, because you can be kind of with toddlers all day, and then and I work from home now, so it's even more like secluded.
yeah, there you go.
You post on social media, they don't talk back. You just post and you gone.
Yo,
Man, I appreciate it.
no problem.